Hi everybody, this is my audience. Okay. My name is Ryan Cochran, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why Congress needs to fix the Voting Rights Act. Voting is really important. How many of you have ever voted in the past? And how many of you plan to vote in the future? My guess is that it's going to be a lot of you. It's important. It gives everyone a voice in how their democracy is run. That's why, the country works better when everyone has a say, and it's necessary for a functioning democracy. Voting is a right that shouldn't be denied to anyone based on race, age, gender, economic status, anything like that. It's a right guaranteed to everyone 18 years and up. Today, I plan to convince you to contact your representatives to support fixing the Voting Rights Act. Right now in America, there's a problem with voting. Everybody 18 and up should be allowed to vote. In the past, this wasn't the case. After the Civil War, Jim Crow laws were passed, mostly in the South, and they negatively affected mostly African Americans. Some of these laws created, poll taxes and literacy tests before allowing African Americans to vote. These laws went on for a really long time before they were fixed, until 1965, when the Voting Rights Act was passed. The Voting Rights Act was designed to stop all these problems, with voting and people being denied when they really shouldn't be. It worked well for over 45 years until recently, just 2 years ago, the Supreme Court invalidated an important section of the Voting Rights Act, Section 4, that created a formula to determine which states had to get federal preclearance before they could change their election laws. Americans really need their legislators to step up to protect their vote. After the Supreme Court invalidated part of the law, states immediately went and changed their election laws and started enacting some really voter-prohibitive measures, like strict voter ID laws. Up to 25% of the African American population doesn't have a government-issued photo ID. They also started purging voter rolls, which is when you take people off the voter rolls because somewhere along the line in your computer database they have a name with somebody that has been convicted of a felony, even though that person may not have been. Closing polling locations without sometimes telling people, and sometimes not letting people finish, cast their vote after, on the day of elections. And a lot of states have ended early voting, which a lot of people take the opportunity to do, to get their vote cast out of the way before election day, sometimes because they have really busy lives, children, things like that. It's something that people really take advantage of. These measures negatively affect, disproportionately, African Americans, young people, older Americans, and poor people. There is a solution, though. Congress needs to pass a new Voting Rights Act. In a new Voting Rights Act, it needs to be updated with more recent data, specifically Section 4. Congress needs to update Section 4 with new recent data because that is why it was stricken down. The court said that it was unfair to the states to be held to these standards with the data that was too old. Section 4 creates a formula to determine which states have to get preclearance before they can change their laws, and Section 5 allows the government to carry out this order. So without Section 4, Section 5 is really useless. Previously, the states that had to get federal preclearance were in the South, as you can see on the map right here. Over here in southeastern, part of the country, in Texas, and some other portions along the way, but mostly in the South. If the new law is enacted, it could solve all the problems. More people will be voting, and less people will be denied their rights. If it isn't passed, then the same problems that we're having right now with people being denied their rights could carry on, and it could possibly get worse. The new legislation will include a new pre-clearance formula, as I already stated, mandatory public notice of election changes, like changing polling locations, changing dates, anything like that. It'll be easier to stop these changes in court. Previously, it was on the burden of the plaintiff, which generally wasn't the state, to prove that there was a burden to them that it wasn't worth changing the law. In this new proposed Voting Rights Act, it's been proposed that the burden is on the state to prove that it's important enough to change the law. Also, in the new Voting Rights Act, it'll be easier for the Attorney General to step in anywhere in the country if he sees something going on that he seems to be unfair to voters. To get this done with, we must pressure Congress. A lot of ideas. One thing you can do would be to call your representatives in Congress, whether it be the House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate, and tell them that you want them to fix the Voting Rights Act. This link here has a directory to every phone number you need to reach any member of Congress throughout the country. Another thing that you could do would be to talk to your friends and talk to them about how important it is where voting rights are. This will just create a bigger web of more people demanding that Congress fix the problem. In conclusion, I hope that I convinced you about how important it is to fix the Voting Rights Act. We are a better country when everyone's voice is heard. And for that, I thank you.